Hey guys, good morning. It's a chilly day here in Florida. We had freezing temperatures last night, which is kind of rare here, but it's warming up slowly. We are in FishHawk, Florida. Going to be doing the driveway and sidewalks from this house. They're not too bad. The sidewalks are a little dirty. Got some moss or some mildew and algae growing up in some of these sections. You can see where it's kind of protected by this big tree. It's growing up. Got some moss over there, or algae rather. We're gonna do the little porch area for them. They're gonna need to potentially look at doing a house cleaning here soon. They got some growth on the house, but we'll talk to them about that when we wrap up. But driveway's not too bad. We're going to be doing our typical process. This is not dirty enough to even remotely think about doing a pre-treat. We don't usually do pre-treating anyway. We find that it's typically unnecessary. But we do post-treating. And so after the surface cleaning, we will get that all rinsed off and then treat it with sodium hypochlorite, SH, and do a treatment of that, probably about 4%, 3% treatment. That just gets rid of any lines and gets into the cracks and crevices and kills any residual mildew or algae that may be growing. It helps to keep it longer, helps to lighten the pavement up as well. So we're filling the water right now. Got the water line pulled. That's being filled. We've got our soft wash hose ready. That's what we're going to put down the post-treatment with. We can adjust the concentration of sodium hypochlorite with that. Got the ball valve ready to go on our pressure line. Had to cover these last night because we don't have cover for our pumps. So hopefully those are working okay today. So we had to cover those because it did freeze. But we got this set to SH, so it's going to be pulling chemical. Gonna set that to about there. I'm not gonna turn that on yet. I'll wait until we're ready to treat it so it's not trying to work and wearing out the battery. So but we'll get this water filled and then we'll get cleaning. Be back with you in a minute.
One of the things we see with flat surfaces like driveways and these patios is they may not look dirty initially, but then as you start cleaning them, if you notice how dark that water is coming up, there's a lot of dirt and mildew and organics and stuff like that hiding in the cracks and crevices. And so you may not see it, especially when it's dry, but once you start cleaning it, you really start to see just how dirty these surfaces can get.
we got that all rinsed off. Now we're gonna do the post treatment. Use our soft wash system for that. Takes about a minute for the chemical to get through this line. So we'll start running that. Get the SH flowing. One problem with this hose, we gotta pull it out all the way because it kinks at the end. I'm gonna be putting a better attachment on there so it doesn't do that in the future, but for right now it's a pain. We're going to be putting a 45-degree angle on there, and I think I might make a whip line, because what happens is it starts damaging that hose right there. These hoses are expensive, so I'd rather have a sacrificial line there. So, future project. Let's get this SH flowing. Hopefully the pump didn't freeze last night. Start kind of. The water's very cold. There we go. Usually when it sputters like that, it means the SH starting to come. Yep. The reason we post-treat, like I said earlier, is there's residual mildew and mold in the pores and crevices of the cement that our pressure washer is not going to get to. And that's why you sometimes see lines when people are washing driveways, is because it's washed, one area with the high pressure a little bit better than another, and it kind of leaves those stripes. So this will help do away with any of that striping. It gets into those pores and kills the mold and mildew better, and it will keep it cleaner longer, and it also lightens it up, so gives it a more new look. So, and that is where you can tell the difference between somebody doing it themselves and a professional job. Is a lot of times with the DIYers, you'll still see those lines. It doesn't look just quite as bright and clean. That's because they're not treating it with SH afterward. You also see that with some so-called professionals that aren't doing their due diligence, cutting corners. The reason they cut the corners is because this stuff is not cheap. SH here in Florida, we're paying about anywhere from $2.50 to $2.75 a gallon right now. So, and that's for like 12% SH, so industrial grade. but cheaper than you could buy bleach in the store, or from from you're just buying it in small quantities. So we get the more wholesale type discount. But that's why a lot of people cut the corners, because it's an added expense. This is where a soft wash system comes in handy, because it's much faster than if I was trying to apply this with a pump sprayer, or even if I had a batch mixer. We don't batch mix. We have a proportioning system, but a lot of people will have like a big batch mixed up already that might be a lower concentration, and that's kind of what they're stuck with. I can adjust mine based on how dirty stuff is or how clean, so we can change the SH proportion appropriately to the job. I'm not stuck with whatever we've mixed up, and obviously it's faster. Now the 12 volt system that we have is not as fast as, like, if somebody has one of the P40s or something like that, that will speed it up even more. Those can use a little bit more SH than the 12 volt, because it's just pumping out a lot more, but it does make it a lot faster than even this process. So we don't have room on our truck right now for a P40 or similar system, but that will be on our next rig. I think we're going to look at having that option. It also helps when we're doing roofs. We can do the roofs a lot faster and reach a lot higher, so we don't necessarily always have to climb the roof. We can shoot it from the ground where it makes sense, because it can reach those heights where the 12 volt system just isn't strong enough. But again, there's trade-offs. You can see like those little algae, I don't know if it's coming through, those little algae stains, even though we pressure washed it, didn't quite come out, and this is where the SH comes in handy. It's going to get the staining up, or at least lightened considerably. So even though we went over that with our surface cleaner, the SH gives it the final clean. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is get down a little bit here. We've got like a minute or so of SH in the line. So what I'm going to do is switch over to rinse on our system. And that will start rinsing out the line with fresh water, cleaning out the pump, and that way I'm not wasting SH to clean out the line. So we'll use what's in there on the rest of the driveway. So I'm going to switch this over real quick. So we have rinse, and what that does is just switches water over to wash the system. So it's cleaning out those lines, those valves, as well as the pump, so that you don't want SH sitting in that pump. It will eat away at it. It eats away at it anyway, but this will extend the life of the pump to make sure that we rinse it really well after each use. So like I said, there's about a minute or so of SH still on the line. We're cleaning it out and using it for this last little bit. Alright, that's all rinsed out. Turn this off. Relieve the pressure on the hose. Alright. Alright guys, we're just finishing up here on this driveway. I'm going to be rolling up the hoses here in a minute, but you can see it's a lot cleaner than it was. Sidewalk many shades lighter, and all that algae and stuff that was over here is all gone. So, and this will continue to lighten as it dries. So, because we just applied the SH, so that will keep lightening up. So, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap this project up. Roll up the hoses, drain the tank. I don't like driving with water, and we'll catch you on the next project. Let us know if you have any questions, guys. Talk to you soon.